What's going on, guys? I'm Andrew.
I'm Jason.
And this is Movie Source.
Today we're doing our spoiler review for X-Men Apocalypse.
Alright, so as Jason just said, this is a spoiler review for X-Men Apocalypse. If you have not seen the movie yet, hit the pause button. Come back and watch this after you have seen the movie. Otherwise, we're going to be spoiling just about everything. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Havoc dies. I told you we were spoiling
Or does
stuff.
he?
Or does he? That's a good question. We don't ever see a body, and so I think like if any comic book movie or a lot of other movies would tell us, if you don't see a body, sometimes the person is not dead. So, I could see him being dead from the incineration, but also I can't see him coming back to in a future film. So
It's kind of weird how that happened, too. Like, he just shot through the wall, and all of a sudden the house is kind of exploding and coming down. So, I was kind of confused about that. It was a cool scene, and then obviously Quicksilver comes in, which was a great scene. That was really cool. I love the music, too, of that.
Sweet dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was kind of weird how the house just decided to explode after Havoc shot like a laser beam through the wall. But, I guess it's plausible. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I feel you. It definitely happened quick, and I didn't see it coming at first. But like you said, the music that was playing was "Sweet Dreams," and I love the sequence. It made so much sense with with being in the '80s with that music. And me personally, I thought it was a little better than the one in the kitchen from Days of Future Past, but I still love that scene so much. They're both incredible.
They're both really good.
Yeah, but I love the creativity too in this scene, from getting the looking at people looking at mutants making out, and he's like making faces, like disgusting faces, and then also when he gets the dog with the pizza in its mouth, and there's just a lot of fun little humor in it too, because it's such a serious moment. The whole place is exploding, so I love how they infused humor into such a drastic moment.
Well, yeah, they almost make you forget, and you don't even realize that. Oh, where's Havoc? And then at the end when he comes out, he's like, I think I got everyone, but then Cyclops is like, where's my brother? So then it kind of switched it. It had a comedic moment, and then it switched it to the serious moment, which I thought was good.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like most comic book films, I want to go over a few, some Easter eggs that we noticed in the film. So first one that I noticed, I don't know if you want to call it Easter egg, but it's definitely a nod to the end of the first X-Men film, where Eric is saying, at the end of this film, Eric says to Charles, aren't you afraid of if someone comes looking for your children or something like that in the night? And then Charles has the exact same response that Patrick Stewart did at the end of the first X-Men movie and says, I feel a great swell of pity for the poor soul that comes to that school looking for trouble. So I like the nod to the end of the first one. I thought that was a really cool nod.
It was almost like a full circle after 6 movies, like saying the same line at the end of it. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, no, for sure. Absolutely. And like every Marvel film except for Fan Shitstick, Stan Lee makes a cameo in this film, and it wasn't a humongous cameo or having him say any lines. I thought it was cool visually from seeing in his glasses.
The glasses,
yeah,
you
could see
cool.
the rockets. It really reminded me of the 1995 Martin Scorsese film Casino, where you see Robert De Niro is looking in the desert at Joe Pesci's car, and it's coming through, and you see the shot of seeing the car go through off the glasses. I thought it was a really cool shot. Also, the woman that Stanley was holding hands with or holding in the scene, that's actually his real life wife. So I thought that was cool, because usually in his movies,
Stanley's wife cameo.
Yeah, there you go. Well, usually in his movies too, it's usually he cameos by himself. So I thought that was really cool to have his wife in such a, like we said, such a tense moment to seeing all the missiles going up. So.
Yeah, then we got another kind of Easter egg where they're coming out of a movie theater and they just went to see Star Wars, Return of the Jedi, and they're like, that one was whatever. Yeah, and then Jean Grey's like, yeah, the third one's always the worst one. So it's making fun of Star Wars and X-Men
The Last Stand.
I feel like it's making fun of X-Men The Last Stand and kind of this movie itself, like not calling it bad, but saying like, oh, this is the third one. So,
But yeah, no, you're right. They were making fun of Apocalypse, but and of Return of the Jedi, of course, but that is complete. Brett Ratner, you stunk up the place with X-Men 3. That's completely what they were saying, and also giving themselves a little pat in the back saying, yeah, you messed up Dark Phoenix too, because it makes sense, because Jean Grey's the one who said the third one always sucks, because her story arc kind of stunk from what Brett Ratner did to it. So I thought it was totally appropriate for Jean Grey to be saying that line. So I thought it was hysterical, and I also like seeing them coming out. I like seeing the 80s look of it too. It didn't hit me as much as the 70s and 60s look of the other films, but I still did like seeing it. I like seeing them. We didn't really get a good look at the mall that they were in, but I like seeing them come out of the theater and seeing Return of the Jedi again. Gave me that 1983 feel, so that was really cool. Another big Easter egg I loved at the end of the film, obviously when they're all in their suits, it's finally getting away from that black spandex crap. I like it. And also we're in the Danger Room. I thought that was really cool. It's a bit, and also we see the Sentinels that we saw in Days of Future Past from the 80s version. So I thought that was really cool, and also it's a big thing in the comics and also in the 90s animated series when they're in the Danger Room. It's how they train and prepare themselves. So I love seeing that. It was really cool seeing the team get ready to go, and it just pumped me up more for the next film.
Speaking of 80s, we got Nightcrawler wearing a Michael Jackson type jacket, so that was kind of funny.
Yeah, no, I like seeing that too. Also, we got Blob. He was in X-Men Origins Wolverine. I hate that movie. He was in there. You remember he was on the Strikers team. Also, there was a scene of in that film where him and Wolverine are like boxing against each other. So he came back in this film. Just really quick cameo. He was fighting against Archangel at the beginning when they're in the magnetic cages that are being controlled. So I thought that was really cool seeing him come back again.
When we see Wolverine for the first time, he's wearing that Weapon X helmet, and that was really sick, and he's doing like the Berserker Rage crazy. Like, I thought that was one of the best fight scenes in the whole movie, so I really like that one.
Oh, yeah, and again, it's, like you said, I love seeing the Berserker Rage finally. I've been waiting forever to see him do that, and also, too, when you see him just clawing and killing everyone,
yeah, it's brutal.
Yeah, it's brutal, and it's getting you ready, because the next Wolverine film starring Hugh Jackman, directed by James Mangold, Wolverine 3, it's going to be rated R. Simon Kinberg has already confirmed that, so I think this is just like getting you ready for the brutality and how it's going to be when it's rated R. So I like seeing that. Like you mentioned, the Weapon X helmet, that was really cool, right out of the comic books. I love seeing that. Also, too, we got to see him with Jean Grey. Because she was like she takes off the helmet with him and like just controls him, or rather like she calms him down.
Yeah.
Sorry, rather calms him down with his mind, not controls him, calms him down. And I just thought it was a beautiful moment because even though they weren't dating, that was her and Scott Summers in the previous films with Famke Janssen. I thought it was just a beautiful moment because they do have that history together, even though the timeline has been, reset as we've mentioned before. But it's just like a nod and a plant of seed for the future for their relationship, and also just a nod for their past relationship. So I just thought it was a very beautiful moment, and how she calmed him down. I really ate it up, and the scene, and I thought they did an amazing job just capturing that old feel and making you want that new feel of that relationship. So I loved it. Also, too, we got a big Easter egg with Maura McTaggart. She mentions to Charles that she has a son and no more husband. But if you watch the 90s animated series, which is one of the greatest animated series behind Spider-Man, the 90s series, and also Batman, the 90s animated series, she mentions she has a son. And in the 90s animated series, she has a son named Proteus. Proteus is a big villain of the X-Men. And Bryan Singer was actually asked, which villain do you want to see be the next villain in the next film, and he said Proteus. So I thought they were planting the seeds for that in this, because they did confirm, or Simon Kinberg confirmed, that the next X-Men film is going to be set in the 90s. So if that's 10 years later, I could see the son being at a proper age to where he could be a villain. So I thought that was a good little planting of a seed right there.
Yeah, and then we finally get to see Professor X be bald, how he looked in the comic books. So that was a really good scene, and I feel like his whole presence just kind of changed once he got that way, because he'd obviously been affected by Apocalypse being in his brain and stuff. But I mean, I thought it was a really cool shot. You just see him sitting there kind of in the chair, and it was a good moment for Professor X.
You said, and just adding on, I love seeing how it's like Apocalypse was trying to transfer into him, and that's like what happened. So I like seeing that that's the reason he went bald.
Yeah, it was a good reason for him to go bald versus he's bald now.
Yeah, I want to cut my hair and just shave. Yeah, no, for sure. I thought it made sense to the story, and it was, like you said, it was a good reason and it made sense. We got to talk, also too, I love seeing at the end of the film when, not at the end, but in the end of the climactic battle, when she's just going crazy on Apocalypse, she releases the Phoenix, Dark Phoenix. So I thought that was really cool. I really hope they do it right this time, because as we mentioned, Brett Ratner really messed it up in X-Men: The Last Stand. So I hope Bryan Singer really does a good job with this one. But I like seeing just like her unleashing it and then like just beating Apocalypse down with that. So I thought that was really cool. We got to talk about that post-credit scene a little bit too. Now, in that scene, it's a really big nods to Mr. Sinister and X-23. Now, X-23 in the comics is basically, it's a female clone of Wolverine. So I thought, like, they're again planting seeds, doing a good job of. I could see her being in Wolverine 3, like as Hugh Jackman's replacement down the line. So, because clearly the guy from the Essex Corp, I think that was called Essex Corp, is what it said on the briefcase. He grabbed Wolverine's vial and put it into the briefcase. So I could see them like using that for X-23. Then on top of that, it's an Essex Corp. That's clearly a nod to Nathaniel Essex, aka Mr. Sinister. So, they're either setting him up to be in Wolverine 3. or they're setting him up to be in the next X-Men film. So either way, like I said, I could see Proteus and Sinister. We'll see what happens. It's interesting to speculate about because they planted a lot of seeds in this film. So I thought that was really cool.
And then, of course, when we see them recruiting Archangel, we got Metallica song Four Horsemen, which I thought was very fitting for this. And I thought it was the score itself was very good for him it kind of exaggerated his, like, kind of becoming strong again when Apocalypse was giving him kind of his power. But that just made me smile, and I obviously like that band.
No, I agree. And also I thought
it was a good scene.
Yeah, I agree. And I thought it fit, too, because he's recruiting them to be his Four Horsemen. So it makes sense. And also, too, I don't know what I liked more, that scene. I mean, again, I love the scene, but I think your reaction, like how happy you were, and like I could see like you giggling in your seat, that was all worth it for me. And like I said, that just hit home, that scene. So I thought it was really cool. I gotta say, a lot of the comedic timing and banter in this film, I thought was really well timed, especially many of James McAvoy's lines. But Michael Fassbender, I think he had my favorite one when Apocalypse comes to recruit him, and Magneto sees him for the first time. He looks at him and goes, "Who the fuck are you?" I love that line. The way, like, it could be such a cheesy line. The way Michael Fassbender delivers, it's such a great delivery of the line. It kind of reminded me also of when Wolverine sees in X2 X-Men United, he meets Lady Deathstroke for the first time, and he like gets the claws out, and you see she gets her claws out of all her fingers, and he looks at her and goes, "Holy shit!" Like. Such cheesy lines delivered so brilliantly by amazing actors. It's
like comedy without it being an actual joke. You know,
exactly.
I like that kind of humor a lot.
Yeah.
So.
Now, if you saw the trailers for this film, you were a little bit spoiled, even though they did kind of not plant the seed in Days of Future Past. He did say to Magneto in the elevator, "You know, my mom knew a guy years ago who could control metal." That was clear. He was clearly referencing that Magneto's his father. They actually do confirm that in this film. And I thought that was such a great device because as we find out in a sad moment in this film, Magneto has, joined humanity. Not joined humanity, but he's kind of like, he's become not a human, but just he's joined society rather. And he has a family now. He just wants to live at peace, doesn't want any trouble or anything. He saves a worker, from dying, controlling the metal really quick. And then he thinks or hopes no one sees him, but he's not sure. And he wants to take his family out of the country and get away just to be safe. And then we end up seeing that the police, I think, end up accidentally killing his daughter with a bone arrow and his wife. Oh, right when that happened, I'm like, "Bye, guys, you're all dead." I love the way he killed them too with the neck. It made so much sense. I did get a little bit, and I love the scene. It's so beautifully played out. It's Michael Fassbender just owns that. He owns every scene he's in, but especially that scene. I was a little annoyed with Simon Kinberg, the writer of that. It's just the first one of the first scenes we see Magneto with his daughter. He says to her that she's like, "I will never let you go away to be taken away from me." I'm like, okay, bye. She's dead and the mom's dead. I get annoyed when I don't mind foreshadowing. I have no problem with that. But when you predictably let me onto what's exactly going on, it was a little annoyed right there for me. But I still love the moment. I just saw it coming a mile away based on the line that I saw from the daughter and that. But getting back to the point I was making earlier, Quicksilver does confirm that he is Magneto's son, and I thought it was beautiful from a point of he's lost his family for the second time. And I like the way Magneto does come around when he decides to betray Apocalypse, or as he says, "I didn't betray you, I betrayed them." Great line, by the way, loved it. I just thought, like, I like his turn, why he comes back to them, but I would have thought the exclamation point on the turn, if Quicksilver would have said, "You're my father," like, I thought that would have made him go, I have something real, even though I do love my friend and I do love Mystique and I don't want anything to happen to them. I thought that was beautiful, and I just thought like an added exclamation point would have been if he would have told him that he was his son's. Like, I have something really to live for still. Like, this is my son. I can't let him die now. So I don't know. I just would have thought that would have been better for me.
Yeah, I kind of agree. It would have been a nice moment, especially if I know he didn't want to maybe do it standing right there during that battle, but even at the very end of the movie, yeah, I thought it would have been a good idea, but they didn't go that way.
Yeah. Also, one of the, again, I know 20th Century Fox does not care about their continuity mistakes in the X-Men films. There's so many continuity mistakes over the course of all the films. Yeah, it is. And it's not a big deal. It's just, I was just a little, I was just a little confused. We see at the end of Days of Future Past that Stryker really being posed, it's really Mystique because you can see the glow in the eyes. He says that I'll take it from here after they drag Wolverine out of the water. So I thought Mystique, either let Wolverine go or explain, hey, you're free, whatever. I thought Mystique is the one who rescued him. And then when we, like you said in the Weapon X scene, with where Wolverine's got his Weapon X helmet on Alkali Lake, Stryker now has control of him. So again, it's not a big deal. I was just a little confused by that. It was, a little bit weird for me. So
one thing that kind of bothered me in this movie at the very beginning was when Mora is kind of investigating about Apocalypse, and she's the one who goes in and leaves the door open, and she's the one who lets the sunlight in that eventually brings him back. I was like, really? That's the reason why Apocalypse came back, was because she left the door open? I mean, I get that it had to happen some way, but I just hate that she was the one that was the reason why he came back.
Yeah.
I wish it would have been more like those people trying to resurrect him actually did it. But she just walked in on it, but it didn't ruin the movie for me at all. But as I was watching, I'm like, really?
It just makes her more of a bumbling character.
Yeah, kind of.
I feel it. No.
And especially if her son ends up being some villain, I guess she's really not helping them at all.
She's not helping their cause. Oh boy, you really should have wiped her mind more. But anyways, another little thing I got a little bit angry at. And again, I know many people might just say, don't watch trailers then. Fine, I get it. I really wish, and it wasn't a big reveal, but they did show Wolverine's claws in the final trailer. Now, if you saw X-Men, a little film called X-Men First Class, there is if you have not seen that, I'm assuming you've seen that film if you're watching this review, but if you have not seen that film, there's an amazing cameo by Wolverine, and there's nothing in the trailers. I had not heard anything about that. When we got that reveal and where Charles and Eric are trying to recruit him to X-Men, they say, Charles Xavier, Eric Lencher, go fuck yourself. Oh, awesome! Amazing! I didn't see that coming. I really, as they were flying to Alkali Lake, because I had seen it in the trailer, I'm like, okay. I was still excited to see Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. I always am. But I would have rather, had that moment, oh my god, I didn't see that coming. Wolverine, with the Weapon X helmet, wow. I wish I didn't see it coming. Kind of it reminded me a little of the Wonder Woman reveal, wait till I'm in the theater to show me that. I understand why they need to show the audience, hey, Wolverine's in the film, but you didn't do that with First Class, and you still made a good amount of money, so I don't know. I just would have preferred that they didn't show that, just me personally. All right, so I really like Jennifer Lawrence's performance in the first two films. I actually thought she did a good job, decent to good job in this film, yeah. But I thought she gave much better performances in the other two films. But to me, I really got, again, annoyed at her when I see that blue CGI. It just really shows me she's not as committed to the role when not because she doesn't want to, not because she's not always in blue. I'm not saying she always has to be in the blue makeup. But I'd like a few more scenes of her being in the blue makeup. She's being paid a lot of money. If you watch X-Men 1, 2, and 3, Rebecca Romijn is in the makeup just about every scene. And I know Jennifer Lawrence is a better actress, a little bit better of an actress than her. And she's an Academy Award-winning actress, and she's got, more pull in this town. I get it. But the story should not be servicing the actress. The actress should be servicing the story. So if she's not committed to being in it, get someone else, or tell her, look, we're paying you a lot of money. Get in the makeup, and because she did say in First Class, mutant and proud, and I get it. It's easier to just hide in plain sight, but it's just, for me, it kept on going. Jennifer Lawrence does not want to be in blue makeup. I'm not even thinking about what the character wants in the film. I'm thinking more Jennifer Lawrence doesn't want to be in it, because in the first two, First Class and Days of Future Past, she's got practical makeup, which I loved on her. It looks so good. In this, it's blue CGI crap, and I hate it. I really freaking hate it, and it annoyed me every time I had to look at it. What do you think, Jace?
Yeah, it didn't really bother me that much. I realized it wasn't as good as the other two, but I was not thinking at any point of when I was watching the movie that this is bothering me.
Yeah,
so,
it really bothered me. It bothered me a lot. Anyways, we got to talk about when Quicksilver is giving Apocalypse a beatdown. I don't know. That might have been one of my other than the mansion running. That might have been my favorite sequence in the entire film, at least from an action beat, where he's just punching him and punching him and punching him and going from showing his speed. I loved it. It was amazing. And also too, I feel like if they didn't show that, everyone would have been like, why didn't Quicksilver attack Apocalypse?
Actually, when I was watching it, I'm like, this is sick, but there's no way that Quicksilver can beat up Apocalypse like this. And then I was sort of validated when Apocalypse, got the best of him afterwards. He kind of he grabbed the ground and caught him or something like that. So I was like, there's no way Quicksilver can beat up Apocalypse like that. I thought it was a cool scene, but I'm actually glad that Apocalypse got out of it.
I agree, but just to see Quicksilver using his speed and how he moves and just punching him a few times.
Seeing him use the speed for fighting than saving people.
In my personal opinion, I still really like Joss Whedon's version of Quicksilver in Avengers Age of Ultron. I like Bryan Singer's version a lot more in Days of Future Past in this film. I think he nailed it a lot more than Joss Whedon, but I still enjoyed Joss Whedon's take as well.
Probably the weakest part of this whole movie, for me at least, was all of the Four Horsemen, minus Magneto.
Yeah,
basically, the other three did absolutely nothing. Storm's intro was cool, but then once she...
And her accent.
Her accent was fine, and Storm Angel and Psylocke, they basically did nothing. They had like maybe like 2 minutes of fighting each, and that's about it.
Yeah.
I thought they were all cool characters, and I was excited to see them in action. I just never really got that, especially Angel. He got owned in like 5 seconds, and then even Apocalypse was like useless.
Not only did he get owned, he died. So I was really a little bit annoyed at that. Not only did you not use his character properly, you killed him off. So that annoyed me. But I mean, they can always reset the timeline like they always like to do. Just kidding. But anyways,
everything's the same except he's alive.
Yeah. But I didn't like. I wish they didn't kill him off. But I know it adds more stakes when characters get killed off. I get it. But still,
I don't really have a problem with him dying. I just wish he would have either one died more epically or two had a good fight scene.
Well, no. My point that I'm trying to make is if you're gonna kill him, at least like Jason said,
make us care about him.
Give him more to do because when he dies, I like Archangel a lot. So I didn't care for him in that moment, and I wanted to. So that was my issue with it. If you're going to kill him off, just make me at least care for the character a little more. Now, we mentioned earlier when Nightcrawler and Blob are fighting. Still staying on that same scene. When him and Blob are fighting, also when Nightcrawler and Archangel are fighting each other. Just visually, I'm not talking about the actual scene in the context of the story. I'm talking about the visual imagery. It really reminded me of the first X-Men film when Wolverine is beating the crap out of those guys. I think it's Laughlin City, and Rogue comes and sees him in the bar. Just visually, like I said, visual imagery just really reminded me of that scene, so I thought that was cool. I also really, I really loved and I thought it was a very touching and sad moment when Apocalypse and Magneto destroy Auschwitz. I thought that was very appropriate. And also, I just thought the visuals and the music, like, it just fit into the scene. Like, just seeing Magneto's face, like, again...
It was a powerful scene.
It's very powerful, but again, it's like we're getting it, and I love seeing Magneto. Why can't you give some of the other four horsemen just a couple minutes of their due time like this? So, I mean, I'm glad what they did with Magneto. Let's do the same thing with the other three guys, the other three horsemen. So... but again, very powerful and touching scene, and I really enjoyed it. Also, too, the part where Jean Grey goes all Phoenix on Apocalypse, and he says, I think he says to her, "All is revealed," I believe. So to me, what that tells me is, like, he's had like a vision of Phoenix. I mean, not a vision because he was being attacked, but just maybe a glimpse of like Phoenix causing like future annihilations or something. So I thought that was an interesting line. So we'll have to see down the line what that line exactly means in the future films with would they take the Phoenix story arc.
Yeah, that scene, like, when she goes crazy on him, kind of weakens his armor, and then Cyclops and everyone else starts shooting him, kind of reminded me of the scene at the end of Age of Ultron, where all three of them are shooting at Ultron. Iron Man, Thor, and Vision. They're all just, like, shooting at him.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of that. The ending... The overall fight scene wasn't that great, but that part in particular I thought was pretty cool, like when Phoenix is going off, and they ended up beating him that way. So
yeah,
I don't know. I had mixed reactions about that end fight scene. I thought
there were parts I liked.
I wish the fight scene between Beast and Psylocke would have been better and just more. Like we didn't really see too much of like Beast action either. Like Beast, like we saw Beast out of not in normal human form, but when he was actually big and blue, we didn't really see that much of him. I wish we would have seen more of that.
Maybe another take of the character of the actor doesn't want to be in that makeup. Who knows? Anyways, I really enjoyed this film. I mean, not that I gauge my piquing interest on what other critics think, but I really have to say I completely disagree with the score of Rotten Tomatoes of this film.
Yeah, I don't get how all the hate is going from.
I don't get it. But again, like we've said many, many times, all films are subjective. Films hit us in a certain way. If you disagree and you hated this movie, hey, I totally respect your opinion. No doubt, everyone's got their opinion. So,
and if you did, let us know why too.
Yeah, no, definitely. We like having a conversation with you guys about what you liked and didn't like about it. So definitely let us know. But getting really back to the ending of this and the score of this film, like I said, I thought the film was pretty well paced. I thought there were some nice payoffs. I thought the Four Horsemen were completely misused. I thought Bryan Singer did a pretty good job directing the film. I thought the actors' performances were really good. Again, I thought they kind of shot a little bit around Psylocke, maybe. She wasn't given a lot to do so. But for the most part, I thought all the actors' performances were really good, especially James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender. They're the standouts, and I really love, I think it's Evan Peters as Quicksilver. He's phenomenal. I'm going to stick with my score of 8.3 out of 10 for this film.
I'm sticking with my score of 8. I agree with everything you said, pretty much. Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy killed it in this movie. They're the best parts by far. All the new characters are cool. Jean Grey, Cyclops, all those guys. It was cool. I really had fun with this movie. Decent action, really good music. It's a lot of fun movie to watch. Not the greatest movie I've ever seen, but I still really like it. Alright guys, well that's going to do it for this video. Let us know what you thought about this movie in the comments section, and if you like these videos, you can hit the subscribe button.
See you guys next time.